Alright, so we had the little malfunction with the regulator. Um, Bert had his old regulator from the crappy Lincoln still floating around, so we took that off and we swapped out the gauges just because mine are a little nicer, and he said that he thought his were leaking. And it seems like these are actually holding really well because we're at just under 2,000 and the bottle's actually probably got like 21, so it barely even leaked down at all. But we're gonna finish up all the welding on the quarter panels today. We gotta finish this side, and then we have to do the insides on both sides. Got some paint on the passenger side, rocker, and the quarter panel. So just need to do a little bit of Bondo action. You can see where the grind marks are with the light on it. So we got to smooth all that out. Shouldn't be too bad. We got the I started to fill in the driver's side, you can probably see, but the fiberglass filler that we still had left over from the engine bay is pretty dried up. I think I put a little bit too much hardener in there, but it dried up real quick. I was able to smear this, and I was able to do like the top seam of the rocker over here, but then it all dried up before I could get any more laid down. So probably try to spread that once more, or try to mix that once more with very little hardener, and try to get these big gaps filled in. I don't really have much of a choice. I mean, I could sit here and weld it over and over and over and grind it back down, but kind of don't want to do that. Probably, I mean, I guess it wouldn't be that bad, but I'm gonna go the quick route and just do the body filler. I apologize for my camera. I broke my lens and then I replaced it myself, but the lens that I bought has like holes in, it's not even glass, it's like plastic or something, but it has holes in it. I don't know why, it makes no sense, but now there's dust getting under the lens and in front of the actual camera lens, so that's why my camera doesn't look the greatest. I'm going to order another lens and replace that. I wish I would have noticed beforehand, but it's all good. So like I said, we just got some filler to do on the rockers and the quarters. That can honestly wait. I'm not really stressing that. I just wanted to get all the welding done back here. We got the insides, this side, already seam sealed, and I just resprayed it again with a little bit of paint I had left over in the mix. But we seam sealed this wheel well, all the seams, and we're gonna do the same obviously on the other side and just nick the wet paint. But we're gonna do the same on the other side. I got to get under here and rough up all the paint. I gotta prep the middle section of the car for epoxy primer. So might mess with that a little bit tonight before I leave. I'm getting pretty hungry though, but gotta prep that, and then we can spray that with the primer. A couple spots to seam seal, I think, and then once that's done, we can come back and we can do the whole bottom side with the Raptor liner, which then means that we can put all of the rear suspension back together, which will free up all this space. And then we have to disassemble the front suspension and cross member engine, all that good stuff. We're gonna have to separate the trans from the engine, so then we can do that. We'll have room to move stuff around, and then we can come up here to the engine bay and finish up here. We just have the one piece there that we have to weld in, and we're gonna box off these strut towers, fully weld them around. And then right here where I had to cut for my for my rad hose, or pipe I should say, for that guy, I had to cut that out. So we just got to make a we'll probably just square it off, honestly, or I guess we can't square it off because of this, but we'll I don't know, we might just square it off. I gotta figure out what we're doing down here, but we gotta plate that. We gotta weld these rad support mounts, or rad mounts, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Gotta weld them up fully, and then I believe that will be it for the engine bay. Then we have to clean up these wheel wells a little bit, just knock off any surface rust, prep them, hit those with the epoxy primer. Then we're gonna hit these with the Raptor liner as well afterwards. So we're getting there slowly but surely, one step at a time. Oh, and obviously we have to do in here, all that has to be done in here is a little bit of grinding on these mounts, and then we just have to weld this plate in wherever that went. I was scared for a second. I thought I was just leaning on wet paint, but I don't know where the piece went, but you gotta cover up those holes. And then we're gonna have to make another piece that will just bolt in here just to block us off for the time being. We gotta figure out the heating situation and how we're gonna duct it, but that can happen at a later date. Forgot to mention, we also welded up this spot on the B pillar here. Came out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. I think there's still, this light's messing me up. I think there's a little bit of a high spot right here. Kind of feel it. We're gonna have to paint it and do like a little bit of a guide coat, sand it to see where the high spot is. I think I got most of it out, but I can kind of feel it, but I don't know if this is actually just low. I know that's low, but I don't know if it's that much lower than I'm feeling that, or if there's actually a high spot. But either way, a little bit of filler and she will be good to go. Pretty happy with how that turned out, to be honest. Alright guys, I got a little carried away. I was in the zone and I just kept on rolling. We got everything done, pretty much. We got the whole bottom of the bed undercoated. Both wheel wells undercoated. We got pretty much the entire middle section of the floor undercoated as well. We did the rockers, both sides. We taped off a few bolt holes, and yeah, so really stoked about how this came out. I only had enough. It took 3 cans to do everything you see: the bed floor, the middle floor, and the 2 wheel wells. We're eventually gonna hit these rockers right along this body line here. We're gonna coat it kind of how they had here. We're gonna do it nice and smooth, but we're gonna do that, and then we have to do both front wheel wells as well also. And there's a few spots that we have to hit while we do the front wheel wells. We're gonna move the jack stands so we can coat that. I forgot to seam seal these welds here, so we have to seam seal those before we hit it with the Raptor liner, just to be safe. And we just got to clean up both wheel wells, and we can do that as well. But we got a whole lot done today. Very happy. Tomorrow I'm going to attempt to get the whole inside of the cab prepped. Probably get at least 1 coat of epoxy on there. I think really what I'm going to try to do is get the whole cab prepped and both wheel wells prepped, and potentially put the rear suspension back in. I'd really like to get the rear suspension in and get this back on the ground, just so that I'm not worried about it falling, but there's always the chance. If one set of wheels is on the ground, it makes me feel a lot better. So now that all this is undercoated, we can put the rear suspension back together, get the back end back on the ground. It'll make working up here a little easier. And yeah, I think we'll probably leave it tomorrow just to do this, so I'm not bent over so far, but we'll figure it out tomorrow. But I'm really happy. So thanks for watching.